Hi everyone, Slangel here from Slangel Designs, and today we're going to do something that's actually fairly quick and well, it takes a little bit of time, but it's fairly easy. It doesn't take a whole lot of time. And this is the ribbed hat. You can make this in a couple different sizes. It's fairly straightforward, and it turns out it looks really nice when it's all done. Sorry, I can't get it all in one shot, one scene there. So I would classify this pattern as a beginner, because really all you really need to know is to chain, half double crochet, and slip stitch. Pretty straightforward. Now for this project, you can use bulky weight yarn. If you do, use the hook size recommended on the label. I'm using a 5.5 and just some worsted weight yarn. Now, I find lately there's a couple things with the worsted weight yarn, depending on which yarn you're using. Sometimes the worsted weight yarn feels a little thicker from one brand than it does to the other. So it's hard to say what the gauge is for this project because it depends how tight people crochet as well. So the thing is, on the pattern that I'm going to upload for a PDF for you guys on the site, it says how I'm using the 5.5 hook worsted weight yarn. Pom-pom's optional. You don't need to put it on, and I just get these off Amazon. Super simple. They just have a little elastic loop and a button that you can attach it to. So for the adult, like when you go to make this, you end up making it into like a rectangle, and then you stitch the ends together to form a tube, and then sew the top part together. For an adult that will fit like a head that's around 21 to 23 inches around, the finished rectangle should be about 20 inches long by 13 inches tall. So this is the tall part, and then the long is what wraps around your head. For a taller, you're going to want around 10 inches tall by 17.25 long inches. And for a child, you're going to want around 11 wide and 18 inches long. So this is an adult one. And the person I made this for, they wanted the brim to be a little thick, a little wider, so I made it a little longer. And they wanted the pom-pom. So pretty straightforward. So the only thing is, with your starting chain, depending on how big you're making it, depending on your yarn, depending on what hook you're using because of the yarn, the only way to get this one going is to do a starting chain and do the first row or two and measure it. If it's not quite the way you want it, you're gonna have to go back to your chain and either add or subtract to get to the size you want. And unfortunately, that's what I have to do too. Luckily, I have made notes that with this hook and say the Craft Smart yarn from Michaels, I know the thickness of that. I've narrowed down, if I want to make an adult hat, I need to do 44. If I want to make a child hat, I need to do, like, I've kind of made note for each brand of yarn I've used and the weight, so that I can kind of go back and say, okay, last time I made this, I had to use this many starting chains and it worked out. So you'll get to know what to do, but very straightforward. So let's get into this here. So I just have some plain old Craft Smart worsted weight yarn from Michaels. Let me just move you in a little closer here. Ooh. There we go. So I'm going to start with a chain of 44. So chaining is super simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. So you need to remember, once you make your chain, that it does change size a little bit, so that you can't base it on the measurement of the chain. So now, to begin, you do your chain, and I specify in the pattern chain 44, or the number required. Okay, so the 44 is what I typically start with, and this is going to make my turns out to be the child size. So for the first row is you're going to half double crochet in the third chain from the hook and in each chain across. So that's the first chain, second chain, third chain from the hook right there. The chain on the hook doesn't count. So 1, 2, 3 in there, and a half double crochet. You have three loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. So then yarn over, put your hook into the next chain, yarn over and pull through so that your 3 loops are on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. So again, yarn over, put your hook into the loops, yarn over and pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. And you're going to do this all the way across. So I'm just going to keep working on that. So, and I will put the link to the half double crochet tutorial, and as I've already mentioned, the link to the PDF pattern for on the website. But once you get going with this, very easy. It's nice to, with the bulky yarn, I believe I had to use an 8mm hook. As long as your ending rectangle matches the size approximately, because some people's heads, like when I made my mother a hat, the adult size was too big for her, but the child size was just a little too small. So I ended up kind of just going like an in-between, so you can kind of customize. And they're super stretchy. So, and something I must say, and I know some people might be watching these videos completely out of order, so as of today, which is like September the 25th of 2023, I like to thank everybody for all the huge, massive support that the channel's been getting. I really appreciate it. Because it does take some work to get some of the videos done and stuff like that, but I really enjoy making them. I enjoy sharing crocheting with people, and if people can learn from it, that's great. I enjoy that, and I enjoy seeing where people are from. If you want to put in the comments just where you're watching from, I find it very interesting. So and I have lots of other samples and that worked up for future videos of projects and stuff, and some Christmas themed ones, and some different things that might be nice for gifts any time of the year. So lots of things planned for the future. And as I've said before as well, if there's anything you would like to see shown on the channel tutorial wise, if it's something I'm able to do, I'm glad to do it, because that's what it's all about, helping everybody else learn something they're looking to do, or expand on their already growing knowledge base of crocheting. And we might be throwing some knitting in here as well. Still deciding on that one. All right, so we're coming up to the end of our starting chain, working our way across with the half double crochets in each stitch. So this is just our foundation row for the rest of the hat. And I'm trying to go, I had a viewer comment saying sometimes when I'm just working along and chatting, I get going kind of fast. And I apologize. It's just when it's something that's repetitive and you're used to doing it, sometimes you don't necessarily notice that you're picking up the pace, and that you're trying to go a little slower for people to watch what you're doing and stuff. All right, so here we go. And my yarn is completely tangled up here because I'm just using some ends. All right, so we have our start, as you can see there. So now what you're going to do for row 2, and this is the row that you're going to repeat for the rest of the hat, you're going to chain 2 and turn. This is where it gets a little different, okay? Typically, you end up putting your hook in so that you have both stitches of that V from the row below, right? So when you made your stitch, there's always 2 strands of yarn, the front loop and the back loop, which makes up the V of the stitch. For this, you're going to half double crochet in the back loops only. So you're going to take your hook, just yarn over, put it in the back, pull up a loop, and half double crochet. Don't panic if it looks like it's leaving a bit of a stretched hole. It will sort itself out. Trust the process. So you're going to, in the back loops across, half double crochet in each stitch. Now something I will warn you about, when you've got a half double crochet, you'll see there's a loop here, and then your 2 loops here, because the half double crochet tends to make an extra loop because you've gone through all 3 loops when you yarn over and pull through. Make sure you're not using these front loops. You have to kind of sometimes hold it and twist it to see your 2 and use your back loop up here, okay? And it's by using that and leaving that front loop alone that the half double crochet makes that gives you this little ribbed look. Okay, so half double crochet in the back loops only of each stitch across. So if you want to put me on pause here and work your way across, I'm going to show you when you get to the end there. I'll do mine and come back when I'm just have a couple left, and I'll show you the end of the row, because sometimes it's a little tricky to find that last stitch. Okay, so press pause and work your way to the end, and then press play when you just have a couple left. Okay, be right back. Okay, so we're all back to towards the end of the row, and keep working in your back loops only. And as you get towards the end here, it looks like you've just got the one here. There you go. But there's one kind of hidden on the end. You're going to get in there and get the very last one. It looks like it's kind of hidden, okay? And there you go. And then you're going to chain 2, turn your work, and work in the back loops only. And this doesn't count as your first stitch. You're going to go right into this one here and back loop only, half double crochet across this one, making sure you're not getting that front loop. You want the back loop with the V. Okay, and work your way across again. So where's my little measuring tape? So this is going to be about 12 by the time I do the next row, to be sure. You can always double check your measurement just to see if you have the right size rectangle. Okay, so you're going to keep doing that across, and then when you get, I'm just going to take this off and put this over here because I have one that I have been working on that I have the full rectangle all done. Let me get my hook back in here. So as you can see, that's a full rectangle, and when I measure it, it is 18 inches long, and it's the 11 inches, so it's the size of a child's. Okay, so now when you've got everything to the size you want for your rectangle, what you're going to do is take your 2 ends. I'm going to, just to make it easier, my starting loose end, I'm going to weave that in just to get it out of the way, because we're going to stitch the ends together here. So I want to weave this in and get it nice and secure. You want to make sure that it's hidden inside, that it's not showing through, and then I just kind of skip a stitch and go back down in through again. And it gets it a little secure there because you don't want to fall in it. All right, so now you're going to fold your ends together. Get the yarn situated here. Line up your two ends. And again, what you're going to do, line them up. You're going to put your hook in, slip stitch, then you're going to go in the back loops only and into the next stitch. So you end up, it looks like you have the 3 loops, and you're going to just pull that loop, the first loop, through all of them, and you're going to work your way across. Sometimes you have to kind of take your time so that you get the right, because the first row there's only a little bit of space to get your hook in there, and it's kind of snug. And this is what we're going to do all the way across to close up the hat for the sides of it. And it's just a slip stitch, and you don't have to worry about being too loose with this slip stitch. The snugger the better, because this is what's seaming together the side of the hat. So if it's too loose, it might not hold together nice and tight. This hat too, just because of the way it's knit, if you were making it for kids, something fun to do is do so many rows of one color and then swap out and do another few rows of another color. I did one where it was red and white, almost like a candy cane. It looked kind of fun. And like I said, the pom-pom is optional. Totally up to you. And like I said, I just got mine. I think I got like a pack of 12 of the faux fur pom-poms off Amazon, and they come with a little elastic loop on them, and as well as buttons. You sew the button on the inside of the hat and then pull the loop through and just loop the elastic loop over the button, so that if the hat needs to be washed, you can take the pom-pom off, so it doesn't get ruined in the washing machine, which is great. You can also get ones, I find they're a little more expensive. It's basically the same pom-pom, but it has a snap on it, so that you just have to snap the pom-pom on that. I like the button because the button's on the inside of the hat. So if you decide you want to just take the pom-pom off, there's no visual, the snap isn't on the top of your hat, it's on, the button's on the inside. So here's a snug stitch. So I prefer the buttons over the snaps. Plus they're harder to come undone, whereas if you happen to catch your hat on something, or the pom-pom, especially if you have kids and the kids are out playing and they're, you know, teasing each other or something, and someone goes to grab somebody's hat, if it's a snap, the pom-pom could just come off, and then next thing you know, somebody's got a pom-pom missing. So I prefer the buttons. All right, so we're getting to the end here. See, it didn't take too long. You got this. You got this. Now, we're gonna get in there, get that last stitch. Now, we've got it seamed together. You need to make sure you cut a fairly long tail. I would give yourself about a foot, excuse me, because you're going to fasten this off. But this is what you're going to use, this is what you're going to use to sew the top of the hat together. So now that we have that, I'm going to thread my yarn needle. Now, when you're looking at your hat, what you're going to do is you're going to do a kind of a slip stitch all the way around. So you're just going to go in and then give yourself about, an inch. and about a 1/4 inch down from the top of the hat. And you're going to do this all the way around. And this is the inside of the hat. This is going to be the hat that you're, part of the hat that you're not going to see. All right, so about a 1/4 inch. And just weave it in and out. Cat hair is free. No need to worry about the cat hair. All right. So we'll come back to the beginning. Then what you're going to do is keep pulling that yarn until it comes together. Nice and snug. Then just kind of hold it, and we're gonna get that yarn in and just get a knot in there for now, just to kind of help hold it so it doesn't start to pull apart, because you got that pulled fairly tight. Then you're going to just weave back and forth a little bit to kind of help hold the top together some. And you don't have to be exact with this part, because this is going to be on the inside of the hat. Try to keep it neat, but there's no right and wrong way to get this part done. You're just weaving this back and forth so that your hat will, the top will be a little more consistently held together, a little more appealing. And I'm going to just give this a little knot here on the top. And before I tie this off, I have my pom-pom. Now, for whatever reason, the buttons for my last couple pom-poms, I have to try to find the, you have to feel around for the elastic. There it is. Found it. And I put my hook in the elastic and just give it a little shake to fluff her up. Because they come in a bag and they're all squished. And I can't find there's like 2 buttons missing. So I'm going to just turn this inside right for a second. And all I'm going to do is put my needle up through the center. And then I'm going to put the needle through the loop because can't find my button. I'm going to pull that tight. And again, the pom-pom is optional if you decide you don't want to do it. Then I'm pulling this down through, and I'm just going to put another couple of knots to hold that. And if for some reason the pom-pom comes off, whoever has this hat can just turn around and sew it back on with that loop. But it shouldn't come off. And then I'm just gonna tuck that in at the end there a little bit. Cut my yarn off. Then you'll fold up your edges a little bit. And look at that. Let me just move you out a little bit. There you go. You've got a nice hat, ribbed hat, and it's quite stretchy. There's a bit of give to it. And there's other hats that I make where it's just a slip stitch back and forth to make the ribbing. But there's your ribbed hat. And the thing is too, if you want more of a slouchy hat, just don't roll up the rim. Don't roll up the brim. And you're good to go. But that's a cute little hat. Super easy, super quick. And it doesn't take that much yarn. I had started with 7-ounce skein, and I don't think I even used half of it. So, for the child size. Those my scissors, sorry. So, anyway, so that is the ribbed hat. So, If you like the video, please like it. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to put them in the comment section, and I do get back to you pretty quickly. And again, I'd love to hear where you're watching from. So all the links will be posted in the description, and stay tuned for the next video, and I look forward to seeing anything you've made. And happy crocheting, and take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.